Hi, how are you doing today? This is Dr. Jansen, and we're very lucky to have today Natalia Cantone, who is a registered dietitian, who's going to help talk to us today with questions about weight management. So Natalia, thank you so much for spending time and answering some questions that I have about weight management, and we're so lucky to have a registered dietitian helping. So the first thing that came to my own mind was, why would someone see a registered dietitian? You know, isn't weight management, isn't it just like common sense, or can't they just do it on their own? Why would they have to see you?
That's a great question. I actually have two answers for that question. And first is definitely not a common sense, otherwise there would be no obesity epidemic in America. And before we get into that, let me talk to our viewer and define nutritionist versus a registered dietitian, because that's a very common question that I hear from my patients. So a nutritionist is anyone who can take a couple of classes or get a certification, a weekend course, if you will, and they can call themselves a nutritionist. And that can be your personal trainer, for example, who is also certified in nutrition. A registered dietitian is, I call myself a scientist, and a health professional who actually has a lot of education, about 10 years with master's degree, and also has a field experience of a year or so, depending on the hours. And only then they're allowed to practice in the medical field and hospital or any other place. So considering that, well, basically when you go and see a registered dietitian, you have all of this knowledge that they can present and help you with your problem, versus a nutritionist that can look things up online and give you the latest online, results for whatever diet. So definitely a viewer, you guys should see a professional as a registered dietitian to help you with your problem.
So Natalia, what are some of the basic principles of a good diet? What are the basics?
So the basics basically include, everybody has a personal diet. I don't like to have one patient would have same diet from another patient. Mm-hmm. So, but there are basic guidelines from USDA. They are called My Plate. So it started in 2011, but prior to that, I don't know if you guys remember, and you, Dr. Jansen, there was My Pyramid. Mm-hmm. And so in 2011, they rolled out and started My Plate. So this is My Plate example. This is exactly size of the plate. It's 9 inches plate, and it has major food groups on it, okay? It has carbs, it has protein, vegetables, dairy, and fruit. So this is a good baseline to follow for just general population. But of course, if you have any kind of medical condition, or you need a specialized diet, or you have preferences, now you're a vegetarian or vegan, then a registered dietitian would be able to help you when you go see them. Mm-hmm. And explain further and work with you one-on-one. That's what I do with my patients.
And Natalia, what do you think is the most common problem that people have? Where are they going wrong? I'm sure people know not to eat cake for dinner, mm-hmm. So it's not like that. But what is the biggest problem that you see that patients are having?
So one of the biggest problems that I see that patients are having is they're trying to fix the problem on their own. They go online and they find the latest trend, a fad diet. They don't want to waste time with a professional to see a registered dietitian, or pay or waste their time, whatever the reason may be. So the quick answer is to go online and look something up, and they come up with some kind of a diet, like a cabbage diet or some weird diet that they're like, oh, it worked. They read the comments. Oh, it worked for this, for this person. It's got to work for me.
I saw the breakfast cereal diet.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. And they keep eating that for like a week. And what happens next is that how long can you eat cabbage for? Or a breakfast cereal, And your body is also not meant to just consume one type of food to begin with. So not only that type of diet would be unsustainable, it would also be unhealthy for you, because then your body eventually will get depleted of all of the other nutrients that we need.
And what do you think would be the biggest misconception that people have about diets? Like getting rid of all the fat in their diet, or getting rid of all the sugar in their diet. What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have when they come in and you say, no, that's not really true?
Well, we cannot just, like I was saying before, if we get rid of something, I don't like to just avoid something altogether, like, oh, I'm never gonna eat carbs or something. Because our body needs everything, and this is where my plate comes in. It has a variety. So, if you omit fat, if you don't ever eat fat again, first of all, it's not possible. But second of all, fat has like fat-soluble vitamins that we need. You will not be able to get it from anywhere else, but unless you eat fatty foods like salmon or something like that, healthy foods. Another misconception is that healthy foods are boring. They're plain. They're not delicious. Like, oh, I cannot munch on celery, celery all day long and like it. It tastes like water or something. That's one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear from my patients. And it's like, oh, I don't want to follow this boring diet. Like, don't even give it to me. But the truth is, there are ways of making food tasty and healthy. You just have to, know the techniques, and that's why, again, the, viewer needs to come and, to a registered dietitian and sit down and discuss how can I make my food not only healthy, but also taste great.
I've had patients say, oh, I felt like a rabbit. I was just eating lettuce all day.
Exactly.
So I'm just not going to diet anymore. I hate
And it's
it.
not about that's the same thing my patients say, oh, I go out all the time. What does that mean? Like I don't really like salads. I'm like, wait a minute. I never tell you have to just eat salads when you go out. Let's just see what you like, and let's see what are the better options if some of those options are not good.
And what do you think is the most important goal of a diet? Should it be like quick results in the beginning so that you feel compelled to keep going, or is it long and slow and it may be a little disappointing to only lose a pound a month or something? Like, what would be the most important goal that you would want for the patient?
Yeah, so everybody would have different goal. When you go and you see a registered dietitian, I sit down with my patients, for instance, I ask a lot of questions. I'll see where they at. I see what their preferences are. And only then we set up a goal based on what they want, what they need. Your goal can be different from mine, and my goal can be different from somebody else. So it makes no sense for me to give everybody the same goal. Oh, lose weight, 10 pounds. And in terms of weight loss, it's better to lose steadily but surely versus, lose 10 pounds. Because to achieve that, you probably have to starve yourself. And what's going to happen? Yes, you will lose that weight initially and quick, but then what's going to happen? You're just going to bounce right back because if you weren't eating or were restricting your calories, and then you can't sustain that for a long time. And then you just got to be starving and overeat, when you say you'll be done with it, in a week or so.
Should you weigh yourself every day? I mean, to keep track? How do you, how do you keep track?
For general population, I don't recommend weighing yourself every day. Let's say if you have some medical condition, like edema or something like that you may need to take your weight. But for general population, I say, once a week is good. Don't do it twice a day because your weight also, fluctuates depending on your hydration status and other factors.
And what about calorie counting? Should you calorie count? It's time consuming.
Yeah, I had patients come to me and they're like, oh no, calorie count, don't give me that. I'm like, I wasn't going to.
Oh, really?
I never calorie count myself, and it's all about, you can't, again, sustain this for a long time. If you go to the store or restaurant, you always worry.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not good for your mental health to be always counting calories and stressing over, I can't have this little, 2 nuts because it's more than, because they're fatty and high in calories. I just had a patient who told me that yesterday. And so it's all about, I'd say to the viewer, basically focus on the guidelines as a healthy plate and make sure you get a variety. Variety is very important because, like I said, our body needs a lot of different nutrients.
I think if it's fun, people will be more likely to keep going with it.
Exactly.
I think people quit diets in my experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the problem.
Yeah,
they'll do it for a month and then they quit.
And that's the problem. So that's why I say it's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet for a general healthy person.
And what do you think about food journaling? Because I know that a lot of the Noom and you go to these weight loss sites and the apps, and they want you to food journal. What do you think of that?
I think it's a great idea if you can do it. I myself give my patients journal when if they want to assess their diet and do nutrient analysis, things like that. I definitely provide them with diary, so they have to keep it if they can. I also ask if that's okay, because some people don't like it and they can't adhere to it. So there's no point for me as a professional to tell you, okay, keep a log, when you are not gonna do it anyway, or not gonna do a good job on it, so I can't even analyze anything. But for at least a couple of days or like a week or so, it's definitely a good idea. Not only it helps the person themselves to see what they're eating and analyze themselves, like, oh, because once you put it on the paper, it's like you see it better. It's like, oh my God, I thought my diet is perfect. Like, look, I've heard this and heard that, so it really puts it into perspective. And another thing, I also ask them to track their mental health, like how do they feel? Are they feeling stressed when they're eating ice cream? Like, let's say ice cream, I say next to it, write how you feel. Do you feel bored? Do you feel stressed, annoyed, or angry?
Or guilty.
Yeah, or guilty afterwards, exactly. And also activity, physical activity, because we want to also see how active the person is. It's not about, weight management is not just calories, it's not just food, but it's also staying active. If you're sedentary, there's potential for developing some chronic disease, and also you're not gonna, your calories are not gonna be, expenditure of the calories not gonna be as big, obviously, if you're exercising versus if you're sedentary.
And just to keep picking your brain, what do you think about hydration? All the patients are asking me, is it 8 glasses, 16 glasses? Like, how big is a glass? You really have to drink a lot of water when you're, to lose weight, or is that just a fallacy?
Thank you for bringing that up, because actually hydration is very important with weight management, because sometimes people, when they're thirsty, they can think, oh, I'm hungry. But in reality, they can be just thirsty. So hydration. But
how much water? I mean, that's what they ask me.
So hydration is definitely not the same for everybody. When my patients come to see me, I do a specific calculation. It also depends on many things, like medical condition, even season. Like in the summer, you'd have to drink more. You have to hydrate more to, if you exercise, you got to hydrate more. If you're on certain medication, like psych medication, for instance, with that one, you will have to have increased fluid intake, and certain things, even like constipation, definitely will bring it up. So there's no one number. But I do calculate that for my patients.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. I think I should be a patient, and you should analyze me.
That's another reason why you need to see a professional, so they can give you your specific numbers.
Yeah.
Not like you go and you Google things up, or what should I eat, how much, all of this fat information, fat diets come up, and all of this information. And that information, if you look at the answers, and if you looked up anything yourself about diet or hydration or anything, you will find contradictory answers. One side says, oh, this is bad. Another one says, oh yeah, eat this same thing, So it's like a lot of patients who first go into the route of looking things up online, they come to me like, oh, I went online and I found this, and it says that I should never eat this, or I should eat that. I'm like, well, that's why you need to see a professional.
I think the most popular thing that's going on today right now is intermittent fasting. It's really popular.
Yeah.
So it means that people eat in a window something like, from lunch to dinner time, but they can eat whatever they want.
Right.
Idea. What do you think of that idea?
Again, this is going to be hardly sustainable. It's one of those fad diets that I don't really believe in. It has some information online. Again, I saw that it's supposed to, help you lose weight and supposed to help you manage diabetes and things like that. But again, it will not compare to a personalized answer directly from a professional to you, exactly what you need. How many calories you should be eating per day, how much protein, how much fluid like that you should be drinking, and any nutrients. Because what a dietitian would do, we will look at your food journal, and then we will see if something's lacking like that. Like, what if you eat a lot of same foods every day, which a lot of us do. We cook for a week or whatever, and then we eat the same things.
Yeah.
So variety is really important.
Yeah. Well, this was really interesting, and I learned a lot. I hope the viewers learned a lot. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.